Hey there, I'm just hopping on here today to talk about the full moon in Aquarius, so I'm going to jump right into it. So today the sun and moon are in opposite signs. The sun is in Leo and the moon is in the opposite sign of Aquarius. Now the phrase for Leo is I will. It is the fifth stage of evolution, being the fifth sign of the zodiac. So Leo is where we learn about radical, radiant self-love. And we can understand Leo a little bit more if we think about the sign that comes before Leo, which is the sign of Cancer. It's a water sign. It's the first sign that brings us into the emotional feeling realm. We understand our emotional connections, nurturing, belonging, family, forming bonds with others. So Leo is an interpersonal sign. It's where we want recognition and appreciation for our individuality within these bonds, within these groups. It's the first sign we have a complete sense of our individuality. Now, the psychological need for Leo is creative self-expression, to be appreciated by others. Again, the need to be an individual, to be special, to be recognized, and to gain approval by the group. And again, that need for creative self-expression and leadership. So it's really where we learn about self-love, because it's in Leo that we understand we are divine beings. Now, the sun in Leo is in a conjunction with Jupiter. So we have these two bold, bright celestial bodies. Jupiter is our psychological need to search for meaning and truth and ethical values. So it's our impulse towards growth and expansion, optimism and generosity. It's where we also find tolerance and acceptance of others. It's our broadened experiences and how we integrate those into the larger whole. Now, in the natal chart under Turning of the Ages Mystery School, which I practice, we explore Jupiter as a fast path to enlightenment or awareness, and we really try to explore how it serves the ascendant and the angles, all the other angles of the birth chart. So now, on the opposite end of this sun in Leo, we have the moon in Aquarius. Now, the moon in mundane astrology represents the people. And in the natal chart, the moon position also shows us our habitual responses, how we move through the day without thinking. It's the subconscious. It shows us where at some point in life we might need to retrieve our power. Because the moon is closest to the earth, in some ways it's our first filter for our experiences, our emotions, our feelings. It can represent our physical home, the home within ourselves, our emotional landscape, what we need to feel safe, connected to others, what we need to feel nurtured. And it's also, gives us ideas of what we need to feel connected, included, and to belong. Now, Aquarius is the final air sign in the this is the final air sign in the zodiac. So it's the 11th stage of evolution. And the phrase for Aquarius is I know. So it is beyond the personal. It's concerned with the group, protecting and preserving the needs of the group, of society. So while Aquarius is not personal, it understands the role of the individual within the group. So it's where we want to protect the integrity of the group and enhance personal freedom within that structure. Now, as an air sign, it creates distance and objectivity, so we can look from above with Aquarius, and there's a degree of emotional detachment. So with the sun conjunct Jupiter in Leo, we have this big energy, how do we shine? How are we seen? How do we express ourselves? How do we engage with our creativity? How do we show up in roles of leadership? And then on the other side, with the moon in Aquarius, we have a conjunction with Pluto. So this combination is emotional intensity. It's like deep feelings, powerful catharsis of repressed energies and emotions. And wherever we find Pluto is also where we find renewal and regeneration. So this full moon brings depth just as much as it brings height. So it's the willingness to go into the corners of the psyche, into the hidden realms of our psyche, to be with our fears, the shadow, what is disowned and projected out into the world. And it's in Pluto's underworld where we find truth And on the other end, at the heights of this expansion of our dreams and visions, this Jupiterian vision quest and search for meaning is also where we find truth. So at each end of this spectrum, there is a truth for each of us to recognize. And to work with this more closely, you can look at your own natal chart and see where Leo Aquarius lands, which houses are contained. And that will just give you an idea of what is being highlighted at this time. Now, you don't have to do anything with this full moon. You know, you can simply look up at the sky, acknowledge the beauty of the cosmos, pause in appreciation of life. But if you want to go further, you can simply just consider and reflect on the gifts of each sign and these planetary conjunctions. And I'll just share a little bit through the Shamanic Astrology Handbook. So in Aquarius is where we find freedom through awareness, through this cosmic overview, this spiritual and intellectual detachment. And it's also how the enrichment of life's possibilities through eccentricity and revolution. It's also where we can participate with others, to be in groups, to be connected with others, while still being able to think for ourselves and to trust our own judgment. Through Leo, we learn the nature of the sovereign, autonomous central self, really developing that radical, radiant self-love and the essence of leadership. Pluto teaches us the law of life, where we incorporate the shadow and our deepest fears. And Jupiter can show us the fast path to our liberation and freedom and expansion. So I hope this is something that you can work with today. I hope it lands, and it's something that you can carry with you even past this full moon. I wish you all the best.